Welcome to season 2 of Jay and Chelle Show and Tell podcast. Listen, like we did last season, we're going to put everything on the table in season 2. Everything except for politics. We will keep it fun. We're going to keep it interesting. We're going to keep it sexy. And for sure, we will keep it real. And with that being said, hello.
Hi.
Let's get to it. Welcome to another episode of Jay and Chelle's Show and Tell. How you doing today, Michelle? Are you good?
Excellent. I've had a venti Starbucks this morning. So.
That's what's up. That's what's up. As usual, we would definitely like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Three Nicks Tap Room in Southgate, Michigan. One of the best bars down in Southgate, Michigan. Hey, if you want to watch any type of sports, whether it's UFC, football, basketball, baseball, you name it, Nick's got it. Just make sure you go down there and check them out at Three Nicks Tap Room.
Also check out their social media. They have a lot of fun events going on. Chili cook-off on December 18th during the Lions game and Sunday brunch. So check out their social media, follow them Instagram and Facebook, and see all the things they have going on. For
sure. Once again, that's Three Nicks Tap Room. Hey, now let's get into this particular topic. Whew.
You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. So listen, today we're going to talk about, is it easier for a man to find a good woman versus a woman finding a good man?
Hot topic. Big question.
We got to break that down, but let's start in the beginning, right? I mean, what is a
define
good woman or a good man, right? It just all depends on what your definition of that is, you know? How would you describe a good man from your view?
Someone who has their shit together.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily have to have like the best job.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through this before with our green flags, red flags episode, talking about a job, a car. I think just being responsible and like being loyal, ethically being a good person, being a good father, that's something that's extremely attractive to me. And so I think good depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can say what's good for me is good for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you can't say what a good woman is for you compared to what some other guy might think is a good woman for him. So I think it's subjective.
Mm-hmm. You
can't really say what's good for everybody.
Right.
But I do think, statistics say that there's like about 57% of men are single and 53% of women. So is there more single men than women? Yes, but doesn't mean they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just depends on the person and what they're defining as good, what's good for them.
Right. Yeah. I could agree with you on that. Also, me personally, when I think about, hey, what's a good woman, right? The very first thing that will probably come to my head is peace, right? A woman that's going to bring me peace. I'm not looking for the perfect woman, or the woman with no flaws. Actually, I like a couple flaws, right? There's nothing wrong with having a couple flaws because hey, no one is perfect at all. But when you put it out there so broad, it's just easier for men to find a good woman versus a woman finding a good man. I don't believe that you can just put it out there like that.
I agree.
Because everyone is different. Everyone has their view of what a good person is. For it may not be the person got to be working 90 hours a week, mm-hmm. bringing in so much money. You never debatable or never having any type of arguments like that. So it can go a lot of different ways, and that's why this topic is so tough. But also, can it boil down to the person that's asking for the good? Could there be an issue there too? We got to address that. Maybe there's not. Maybe there is. But if you continuously say, "Oh, it's just so difficult to find this person, that person," realistically, is it really that difficult, or is it something that you're asking for that realistically is just not may
maybe
not be
doesn't
available
exist.
or doesn't exist,
Like you said, there's no perfect people. I mean, let's just face it. And there's no perfect relationships. To me, a relationship is almost kind of like a job. You get what you put in. It takes effort. It does take work. And you're going to run into challenges and issues and problems. And it's just, how do you react to those and how do you overcome that? How do you work together as a team to overcome those things and work through it? Just like you would at work. Like, that's how I kind of look at it. Only, a job is rewarding financially, and a relationship should be rewarding emotionally and physically and all those other things. So you're right. There's you can't seek perfection, but you can seek common goals. Like, if I'm at a stage in my life where maybe, I know people who, they've had their children, they're single, their children are grown or in high school, and they don't want to start over, but they might find a man who does, or opposite, a woman who's looking for a man. He's already had his children, they're grown, he doesn't want to start over. So you have to have those common goals. So like, that's why I'm saying what's right for one person might not be right for another. You have to like make sure you have common goals and work towards those together, or it's just not going to succeed. But I don't think people should settle. And that's where I think this kind of comes in, is, are women or men being too picky with what they want? I don't think so. I think that, find what's right for you, do what's right for you, and don't settle.
Yeah, we touched on that in season 1, as far as being open, when it comes to dating. If you're strictly focused on a certain type of person, we talked about, right?
Yep.
What's the chances of you going to get that certain type of person, or what's the chances of things happening the exact same way it happened, the last time? You know what I hate though? I hate, speaking of goals, I just kind of flipped the conversation.
You hate goals.
I have no problem with goals. I just don't understand why folks say relationship goals, right? They can see a couple on their socials and say, and post a picture of what they just saw and say relationship goals, right? Just based off a picture. Now, where does that come from? I know I just started seeing it, a few years back, relationship goals. It can be Russ and Sierra on a boat, and then I see 25, 30 women, and sometimes men too, say relationship goals. Like what exactly does that mean?
I don't know. I mean, I think that I don't base things off of what I would see on social media, or even especially with a celebrity. Because let's just face it, that's not going to be me and you. I mean, it could be. We will work towards that, but it doesn't mean that that's going to be us. So I don't know. I don't really get it either. I don't base a lot on social media. I consider relationship goals more so, like I said, working towards a common goal. I mean, do we have the same beliefs and goals financially? Where do we want to live? What would we want to do for our future? And things like that. And then goals too, like, do you want a family or don't you? Have you had your family and you don't want to start over? Or do you want, to start a family? And so I think that's what I mean when I say goals. I'm not basing it on a photo like that or what someone else is doing. I don't give a shit what anybody else is doing. I know what I want, and I know what I want for my future and what I want in a life and with a partner. And that's what I feel like people should focus on, not Russ and Sierra, even though I'm sure they have a great life. But I don't think people should base on that. You need to be realistic.
Right. And that's where I wanted to come back around to. And when I say, when folks say, relationship goals, I'm just speaking like in general, not necessarily a particular person. But
I see success as a team and as a couple. And I think that to me is relationship goals. We have friends and family who are in business together and they're running successful businesses and killing it. To me, that's goals.
Yeah. And I can appreciate that. So my point of bringing up the goals thing was to, don't necessarily look at someone else and say,
focus
hey,
on yourself.
This is a relationship goal, especially the lifestyles, of the rich and famous. There's nothing really wrong with, wanting to have high goals, wanting to make as much money as you can, wanting to find the person that you may want to be with. But I guess what I would say is, don't look at someone else's situation and think that that's how life is supposed to be, or that's what you're striving to get to. Because trust me, that same photo that you see, that relationship goes, those relationships have problems also.
Exactly.
Who in the hell is really going to post, hey, we just argued today?
Right.
You know what? Let me
No
take
one
that
does
back
that.
because folks do that shit. But
Yeah, well, I guess
what
they
I'm
do.
simply saying is like the chances of folks always posting the negative things
Right.
is very, very low compared to the great things. So when you do say relationship goals, just be careful because I've seen plenty folks say relationship goals when it comes to, Tom and Giselle. I guarantee I won't see any of that today.
Although I have to say, on that note, their marriage did last a very long time for a celebrity marriage. So good job them.
Oh, for sure.
They lasted
for sure.
12 years.
For sure. The goat.
Yeah, but like
the
screw
goat is
that.
loose now.
I don't like the basing it on a photo or like how someone looks or appears. Like screw that. I want to be happy. Like you had mentioned peace, and that's where like my relationship goals are. I want to be with someone who makes me happy, does not stress me out, makes me feel good. It feels good to be with that person. And yeah, we do have common what we would like for our future. We're a team. We're working towards that same goal for the future, to base it on a photo, especially a celebrity photo. But you're right. People mostly post on social media the good shit. So, basing what you want in your life on that, it's not a good move.
And
Find what makes you happy.
For sure. Definitely. That's goal number one. First of all, be happy within yourself. And then, find someone to, share your happiness with. So when we get back to the point, is it easier for men or easier for women? I think it's difficult for both. Realistically, it's not a. If you are single, it's not. First of all, easy to just to trust someone and just jump into a relationship. I think I'll speak back on to. I'll speak for myself. Going back, a few years, even when I was single, it was just I would try to be just a little bit, more careful on who I was, talking to or dating or even wanted to date. Just started digging just a little bit more, just just so I can keep in mind of. Hey, is this the type of person, that I may want to be with? I didn't really want to set my expectations just way, way, way high because a lot of times when you do that, you may not run into exactly what you're looking for. Sometimes you may run into what you're looking for, and then down the line is really not what you're looking for.
Well, you have children to think about, so me as a single person, not having kids and you having, kids who would be influenced by this person who eventually would meet them, you do have that to consider. So that's pretty important too. And a lot of people might be facing that as well, especially small children. If your children are grown out of the house, maybe you don't put so much emphasis on what kind of person you're with and how it might influence your children. But when you have small kids, that's a whole different story in my opinion. And I don't even have kids. I was naturally.
I was in a situation years ago where my girlfriend at the time felt like I should put her before my daughter. We would go back and forth about this. Like my daughter is number one. There's no way I can put you first. But you are very, very close first. But my daughter is my main priority. But when it came to me spending time with my daughter or doing things with my daughter, she really didn't like it. Even though she can do it with me, she wanted that me and her time, but me as a father, I had responsibilities. Then I got to a point where I said, after we broke up, years after that, I said, you know what, I'm never going to date anyone without any kids because they don't understand what it is, as far as responsibilities when it comes as a man in America taking care of his kids. So. And then
don't worry, your kids take priority over my priority over you any day too.
I get that. I'm just speaking on the past, but that's those situations was making real. Me think a certain way, and they're real situations.
Right.
So again, like I said, getting back to it, it's difficult. I really think it's difficult for both parties, whether it's a man or a woman, to find someone that they can they can really mesh with. And I keep going back to the, what's a good person to you,
I just think it kind of sucks for women because we want to be independent. And many women are. We don't want to be supported financially. We want to be supported emotionally and like spiritually and all those things, but not necessarily financially, right? And I think some men want to do that, want to be the breadwinner, want to be the caregiver, want to be, everything like that. And to me, that's just not realistic. Like, no woman should expect to be supported by a man. And I don't think a man should expect that his woman stay home and not work. And, I think those are things you have to talk and work through together and find what works for you as a couple. So that's where I think a lot of people have this, like, women are forced to be independent, but then sometimes it's too independent. You're too much. And I've run into that before too. And it's like, well, what would you rather have? Like, and I'm me, like, and I'm not going to change. So that's where I think a lot of people are running into this kind of issue, what their beliefs are and what they want in a person. And you aren't going to probably find that. Like you said, there's no perfect person. There might be a perfect person for you or for me, but I don't think, no relationship's perfect. Every relationship is going to have problems of some sort, and it just depends on how you work through that.
Exactly. I mean, let's face it, we're in 2022, right? And I'm just speaking from a male's perspective, right? A woman that cooks a full course meal every night, or clean up every single day, or do the laundry every single day, that does not necessarily define, a good woman. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of other things outside of that. And I think some, not all women, think that, okay, well, I do this, I cook, I clean, I take care of all the household things while he's at work. That makes me a good woman.
Right.
Not necessarily. A lot of guys ain't thinking that way.
Well, especially because most men who are single do all those things themselves
they do
anyway.
all the things themselves.
We don't need that.
Outside of what you can bring to the table that's already clean because I cleaned the table. What else? What else are you offering? What else can you bring? And you can flip this and say, hey, just because a guy works every day, take care of all the bills, he's the lawnmower in the grass, he's shoveling the snow, that doesn't necessarily make him a good man.
No, it does not.
Because at the end of the day, if you're miserable, right?
Exactly.
If you don't have peace, you don't have peace.
What do you have?
What do you have? So I think a lot of times our visions of a good man or a good woman is kind of confusing, because there's a lot of other things that can make a person very good versus, I'm
going back to what Charles said on episode 3 in our first season. I mean, he was out there and said it was great for single men, but he wasn't necessarily looking to settle down. And I think I had mentioned like an independent woman to him, and he's like, I want to be wanted, not needed. And I think it comes down to that, because all those things you just described that a man can do, cut the lawn, shovel the snow, I've done all those things too. And, so I don't need someone to do those things. Is it nice if you work together as a team and accomplish it? Sure. But, and I think the same, like we said, a man can cook, clean, do all the laundry, so I think it's more down to wanting to be wanted. And what do you want in life? Don't look for what you need. You should be able to provide those things yourself with what you need, and then look for someone who complements that.
Right, for sure. That's definitely a great point. So what?
Deep thoughts by Jay.
Deep thoughts. Yeah, I always do that deep breath, like every episode. I feel like, right. So how can a person run into something that they're not used to running into? Meaning, like, if they're constantly finding the exact same person, the exact same type of person, is that even possible? First of all, just meeting the same type of person all the time, right? Do you get what I'm saying? Is that possible?
You attract what you put out, I think. So, I mean, if you're a certain way or act a certain way or are attracted to a certain, just speaking from a woman's point of view, a certain type of guy, looks wise, or how they act, maybe they're, confident, but it could be mistaken as arrogant or cocky. I think you get what you put out. And if you're constantly going after that same or similar type of person, yeah, you're going to keep attracting similar personality traits, and maybe it's not what you like or need. So maybe you need to change a little bit of what you're putting out there, or what you're looking for. Not saying, again, don't settle, but definitely change what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're just running the same type of person over and over and over again, clearly there's something that's either you're putting out or that you're looking for in a type of guy. Because we talked about type before too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the type? To me, a good type is someone who makes me feel comfortable and happy and not stressed out, and just a relationship just kind of comes easily. That's the kind of what energy I feel like I put out, or at least I try, and that's what I hope to attract. And so I think that's a little bit of that going on. It's like what you are putting out there is what you're going to attract. And if you're attracting the same type of man every time, and some men want a woman who stays home, cooks, cleans, does all those other things. But I think as long as you're upfront, we talked about that too, transparency, be upfront about what you're looking for, about what you want. And if it doesn't mesh with what you're putting out there that you want, then move on.
For sure. And yes, you are right. Some men do want women like that. And it's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
If he's happy with that. So it goes back to, it just all depends on what you're thinking. What's good in your eyes. It can mean a lot of different things. And I just lost my thought again because I was going to say something else before you before you said that. Oh, here we go. Me, you, and Selena Jordan. We talked about expanding or being open to different things. Not saying that you just got to go all off the wall and just date someone 100% totally of what you're not used to, but are you able to take some of that? If you change, I guess, how you're looking at one person, maybe some other things can change. Meaning, like, date someone you just never even thought about dating before, right? You never know. Once you have that conversation with them, you may start to feel like, okay, well, let's see where this is going. And now at that point, now I may have made the right decision. Let's just keep it moving and see what's going on.
Well, like you said, you vowed never to date somebody without children again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the first questions you tend to ask somebody, right? When you're getting to know a person, jobs, lifestyle, kids. Do you want kids? Do you have kids? And so when I said, no, I don't have kids, like there must have been something.
That was also premature by me to even say, you know what, because I went through this with that person, I'm never going to date anyone again. But
it's still a criteria that you had, and so you could have just right then and there not given me a chance. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can still have in your mind what you think a criteria is or what you want in a person might still work out, even if you broaden those horizons, or like what you want a little bit. Like that's, what we talked about with Selena, like, branch out a little bit. Don't just have this like checklist of rules that you have for what you're looking for in a partner. Sometimes rules are meant to be broken. So branch out a little bit and go beyond what you think or what you say is a criteria. That's all I'm saying. Like, you had that in your mind. That was something that you would never do again. And, you did.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely did. Because, when I think about it now, a huge part of that was just me blaming this particular person that I was with. Not everyone without kids is going to react to jealousy when it comes to a man and his kid. That was just that particular situation. But in that moment, in my mind, I'm thinking everyone thinks this way.
Right.
So
a lot of people do. I have friends who are like that who are dating, a new guy, and I hate when his daughter comes and sits between us, and I'm like, are you shitting me right now? Like, that is such a shallow thing to say and think and act like. I mean, that's his kid. He doesn't see her very often. Exactly. So, I mean, I've actually gotten in beefed with her a little bit before about that, because I'm like, and this was a long time ago, I don't understand that thought process at all. So if you have a certain criteria, like, I'm only going to date a man who's never been married, right? Like, that's a similar thing that I hear a lot of single women say. I want someone who's never married. I'm like, good luck. People get married young and they make bad decisions and they're kind of stupid. And so what if they got divorced? It was a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like, don't put that on as a criteria that I would never date somebody who's been married before, because you might find the perfect person for you or the best person for you just by making that one little like change in what you're looking for.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I would just say just make a couple different tweaks if you are a woman or a man that who thinks it's very, very difficult to find a good person. Make a couple tweaks, and you never know who may come along. And actually, a lot of us, we have to also look in the mirror. It's a lot of times. We're searching for a certain thing or a certain type or a perfect person or a good person, and we haven't really evaluated ourselves
Right.
as far as, are we a good person? Am I the type of person that can bring peace to someone else? Because if I'm full of drama and no peace, then of course I'm meeting you or this woman, right? And if I'm not bringing peace, then that's just gonna rub back off on me, So
Yeah. I bet if we did like a poll though, or if we questioned 20 different people and said, what makes a good partner or a good spouse or a good boyfriend, girlfriend, I bet we get like 20 different answers.
you're gonna have 20 different answers,
right?
for sure.
Because it's like, again, what is good? What does good mean? Good for you personally.
Yeah.
And so I think it's pretty very broad to say it's hard for a good woman to find a good man. I feel it's kind of bull because it depends on what you're looking for. And again, don't settle. I'm never saying that, but I'm saying like, define what's good. Like what I think is good is different than everybody else.
For sure. Because for one thing we do know, right, there is good in a lot of people.
There is.
There's good in a lot of people. So that's why that word is just so risky to use because, hey, and it's just to be clear, this is Jay.
Jay's talking to the audience.
I am a full-blown asshole a lot of times, but I like to think that I'm a good guy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, believe me, every place we go, oh, Jay's a good guy. Jay's a good guy. I hear it all the time. No one says shit about me though. Like I know we're probably going places they don't know me, but still I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm a piece of crap because everyone's like, oh, Jay's a good guy.
Yeah. And,
and you are.
But that's the thing, but I'm also not perfect,
Right.
I
can vouch for that.
Yeah. You can vouch for that. I've fucked up a lot. I've fucked up plenty of times in my life. Fucked up plenty times in relationships, but that does not make me to be not a good person.
Exactly.
So the thing is, we have to define that good. We have to define that good before we can even say that, hey, it's hard for men or women to find a good, partner.
And maybe change where you're looking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're depending or you're relying on social media and who's inboxing you or telling you look good, doesn't mean they like you or that they want to be with you. It means they like how you look. So maybe change a little bit of how you're looking for people. Don't just rely. I mean, I know it's really hard in 2022 not to rely on like dating apps or social media or something to find somebody, but change what you're doing and how you're looking. Don't just put yourself in one box, like branch out a little bit and find someone better for you.
Yeah, for sure. And and when you go out on these dates or even first dates, expand the question book. Ask a lot of different questions. Ask the key questions that you may think that would make you happy, or I don't know, make this person a good person in your eyes. Just start digging a little bit more. But I truly believe there is a ton of good women out there. I also feel like there's a ton of good men out there, but it just all depends on what your good is.
Yeah. And I think in that getting to know you phase, when you have your checklist of things you're looking for or not looking for, how does it make you feel? Like, do they make you laugh? Do they make you feel comfortable? Do you feel relaxed around them? I mean, there's a lot of different things. Like you might not check all the boxes, but you make me feel a certain way. And sometimes you just can't describe that feeling. And sometimes, like we've said, when if you get that feeling, I think that's a win.
For sure. There you have it. Chelle, final words.
I mean, final words. I think if you find someone who is good for you, who brings you that peace, who, makes you feel like a good person and who supports you. And I don't mean financially, I mean supports you emotionally and like motivates you to be a better person. Then you got it. Like hold on to that. Work at it. Don't let that go.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I also would say, find the person that's going to bring you the most peace with a sprinkle of a lot of fucking arguments. But at the same time, I think peace is the biggest thing. And I can speak
agree.
for a lot of guys. A lot of guys just want peace. And let me add the women in that. Women want peace also. It's just not about the male. It's about both parties. The more peace you have in any relationship, the better things will go.
Exactly.
Listen, thank you guys for tuning in again this week, and thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to hit our Facebook, Instagram, press like. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe.
Please.
And if you
Yes.
And if you don't want to watch, you can always listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Sounder. And one more shout out to our sponsor, 3 Nicks Tap Room down in Southgate, Michigan. We will be there this weekend, as we usually are, at least once or twice a week.
Right.
Go see 3 Nicks Tap Room. Tell them Jay and Chelle sent you. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere.
Great service.
Excellent
We've been there
service.
so much, and seriously, those servers and bartenders, they're amazing.
Amazing.
They're so much fun.
Until next time, peace.